How nutrition impacts your mental health is a very understudied phenomenon because it belongs to two completely different branches. On one hand, we have psychiatrists and psychologists who haven't really studied food's interaction with the mental processes. On the other hand, we have nutritionists who have studied food, but they don't have a great understanding of how it can impact the system. Now here, as a person who's been very curious about meditation, yoga, Indian philosophy, yogic science, Ayurveda, I find that Indian traditions have very holistically attempted to work with a human being. They don't believe that mind and body are so separate. In fact, they believe they're so super connected that everything that you eat or you do with your body, whether you rest, whether you work out, everything impacts your mind, and everything that you think or what goes on in your mind, every emotion you feel impacts your body. So they have come up with very holistic suggestions, and I'm going to give you very, very generic suggestions which I feel personally as a therapist I use in my practice and which I feel are very meaningful for people. The first one is eat food that is easy for you to digest. So for instance, if your tendency is to be more depressed and low on energy, don't eat heavy food. Because if you're going to eat heavy food, junk food, heavy food, any food that makes you lethargic, then you're going to have a more difficult time because already depression is a heavy emotion. On the other hand, if you're anxious, fleeting, chronically worried, eat foods that calm you down, eat warm foods, eat foods that create more sense of heaviness, ease in the system, that create comfort for you. Again, processed foods are not those foods. When you say heavy foods, you don't mean junk foods. You mean warm foods, vegetables that will create more substance and fiber in your body. Now, one way of knowing which is good for you, which food is good for you, is the second point, which is eating mindfully. When you eat mindfully, you become slow and aware of what you are eating. Working lunches sound super cool, but working lunches are a real problem. You keep everything away. You keep all distractions away, all meetings, all thoughts, your phone. And for those 15-20 minutes that you eat food, just focus on what you're eating. Eat with awareness, eat slowly. When you eat like this, mindfully, you become more in tune with your body. And then you start to understand what your body really needs or doesn't need. Which food is going to make you feel light and energetic? Which food is going to make you heavy? Are you feeling light or heavy right now? What you really need right now? So initially, you're just changing how you eat, but eventually it starts to change what you eat. You also come to know when to stop, and it's great to keep your mind and body in alignment. So eat mindfully. The third point is don't eat close to your sleeping hours. So if you're sleeping at a certain time, say 10 o'clock, finish your food by 6:37, at least 3 to 4 hours before you're sleeping, so that the digestive process is over and your nervous system is now free to create healing while you sleep. Because while you're eating, your nervous system is very busy providing energy to digestion of food. And if your energy is busy digesting food, it cannot heal you. So if you want to heal your mind and body, whether you have a chronic illness or you have an acute illness, or you have anxiety, depression, worry, sleeplessness, whatever it is, if you keep your system light by finishing your food early, you're going to be better off. Ayurveda has a very simple suggestion: eat with the sun. When the sun is at the highest, eat well. When the sun is lower, eat less. When the sun is not there, don't eat. So it's a simple way to follow. And finally, don't use substances. Not stimulants and not depressants. Because what substances do is they create a havoc in your nervous system. They shake the nervous system up, especially if you're using them very often. Then the nervous system doesn't know what to expect. It doesn't know when it is going to be faced with a stimulant, how much neurotransmitter it needs to create, how much of what hormone it needs to produce. So it is in a chaos. And a chaotic nervous system can never help you heal and do well. So don't use substances. Now the last word of advice is, some of these may seem very difficult for you to do. You may say, I work late, I do a night shift, I have to eat like this, I can't do that. It's okay to start small. Start with one point. Once you start with one point, you will yourself find in a few months or maybe in a year, you are doing everything correctly. Because once you start with one thing, with some orientation, Just start eating mindfully or just start eating early. Just one thing and slowly build on the others. The other option is you see this video, you do nothing and everything remains as it is. So it's always better to take a small step in the right direction. So I hope you start eating right and these tips are helpful for you.